If the United States military was ordered to completely lock down the Strait of Hormuz, it wouldn't be a swift, clean victory. It would be the most complex and grueling naval operation since World War II. This is a map detailing the extreme geographical constraints of the strait. At its narrowest point, the waterway is only 21 nautical miles wide. The shipping routes inside are incredibly tight, confined to a strict traffic separation scheme, a 2-mile inbound lane, a 2-mile outbound lane, and a 2-mile buffer zone in between. Navigating shallow waters filled with reefs makes these transit corridors highly restrictive. Massive multi-billion-dollar aircraft carriers are simply too valuable and vulnerable to deploy inside such a tight, predictable space. This leaves the primary targets, massive commercial supertankers, confined to a strict, inescapable path. If attacked in this corridor, these cargo ships have virtually zero room to maneuver. This unique geography neutralizes the traditional brute force advantage of deep-water fleets, forcing commanders to rely on a highly specialized, calculated approach to naval warfare. To control this narrow corridor, Iran relies on a triad of heavily fortified outposts. These islands act as stationary, highly armed defense systems parked directly on the edge of the shipping routes. Located furthest south is Abu Musa. Operating as a forward early warning center, its radars track incoming Allied warships and commercial vessels long before they reach the main choke point, extending the threat zone deep into the Gulf. Moving toward the throat of the strait sits Larak Island. Looming directly over the international transit lanes, it serves as the close quarters enforcer. Fast attack boats staged here can reach a passing cargo ship in mere minutes, leaving a crew zero time to react. Finally, there is Keshm Island. As the largest island in the Persian Gulf, its rugged, mountainous terrain hides a labyrinth of underground bunkers. This is the strategic anchor, designed to launch heavy anti-ship cruise missiles. From these outposts, forces can deploy fleets of small speedboats, clocking up to 70 knots. They swarm a single ship from 360 degrees, alongside drone boats packed with explosives, rapidly dropping tethered naval mines directly into the ship's path. The combination of geographic bottlenecks and these highly mobile, decentralized weapons creates a lethal asymmetric ambush, requiring multiple layers of specialized countermeasures to dismantle. The tip of the U.S. spear begins with Phase 1, the picket line. Instead of aircraft carriers, the military would deploy a wolf pack of 4 to 6 Arleigh Burke-class guided missile destroyers. These ships position themselves in a layered patrol box, one watching the northern approach, one covering the deep center channel, and a third hanging back as a rapid response reserve. Their collective radar coverage creates an invisible dome over the strait, but the surveillance above the waves doesn't account for the threat below. Iran operates Kilo-class submarines, capable of attempting to break the blockade or lay mines in the deep channels. To neutralize this, the U.S. Navy relies on the Virginia-class attack submarine. Patrolling silently at 400 feet, she carries heavyweight Mark 48 torpedoes to hunt and eliminate enemy subs before they ever surface. By locking down the airspace, surface waters, and the deep channel, Phase 1 ensures nothing moves without being tracked, creating the secured perimeter necessary for the most dangerous clearing work. A blockade's greatest threat isn't always incoming missiles. It's contact and influence mines, cheap, patient, and highly lethal devices that have been dropped all over the strait, with many drifting into neighboring waters. To clear these hidden explosives, the Navy initiates Phase 2. They deploy the Independence-class littoral combat ship. Rather than acting as a traditional minesweeper, these vessels operate as robotic motherships, sitting safely outside the minefield. The process is strictly calculated. A 39-foot unmanned surface vehicle launches first, towing sonar equipment to trace the seafloor. Simultaneously, an MH-60 Seahawk helicopter scans the exact same patch of water from 100 feet above, looking for floating threats. Because surface tools can't reach everything, the Navy sends in the knife fish. This robotic submarine dives directly into the highly cluttered danger zone to detect, identify, and safely detonate buried mines using magnetic and acoustic signals. Removing human sailors from the most hazardous environments allows the Navy to execute a calculated, mechanical sweep of the choke point without risking massive casualties. But this methodical clearing process is highly vulnerable to a sudden strike. In an escalation, 24 fast attack Mosquito boats can blast out of harbor at 40 knots, widely dispersed to swarm the destroyers from every direction. Realizing the swarm is too large and scattered for the ships to handle alone, the military calls in the A-10 Thunderbolt II. Flying low and relatively slow, the aircraft gives pilots excellent visibility against small, fast-moving targets. The pilot's opening move is the AGM-65 Maverick missile, an infrared-guided missile steered directly into a boat's engine compartment. Once closer, the A-10 unleashes its primary weapon, a massive 30mm Avenger cannon firing depleted uranium rounds, capable of tearing fiberglass speedboats to shreds in a 1-second burst. For the threats that evade the initial airstrikes, Phase 4 deploys Army Aviation Apache helicopters. Launching from Navy amphibious assault ships, they chase down the remaining boats right at sea level, ripple-firing laser-guided Hellfire missiles at blistering speeds. Ultimately, the most effective countermeasure is a preemptive offense. To eliminate the heavy anti-ship missiles stationed inside Keshm's mountain bunkers, Allied jets are tasked with dropping the GBU-72, a 5,000-pound precision-guided bomb designed to smash through 20 feet of solid reinforced concrete. Surviving a coastal swarm attack means quickly pivoting from a defensive naval posture to an overwhelming multi-altitude aerial assault. While the United States military has the hardware to completely lock down the Strait of Hormuz, the operation would be a brutal, high-risk endurance test rather than a swift victory. Securing these highly constrained choke points demonstrates that modern sea control is no longer solely dependent on fielding the largest, most expensive aircraft carriers. Success requires integrating surface destroyers to secure the airspace, airborne bombers to suppress ground threats, and autonomous robotics to clear the unseen hazards below the waves. The tactical realities of this specific environment prove that securing international waters now demands unmanned systems, hyper-precise munitions, and the ability to dismantle decentralized lethal networks. If you want to keep up with the fast-evolving landscape of modern military strategy and see how these technologies are actively reshaping global defense, make sure to subscribe to the channel.